Ladies and gentlemen, we're going back to our roots. We're hitting up the tier list. We're going to be doing a tier list for every Wrestlemania that has happened so far. We're going to rank them as usual from S class all the way down to F. So Anthony, we have a special rule for these tier lists though. What we do is by the end of this, there can only be one entry in the top, the grandest stage of them all. Next up, we have got WrestleMania 22. This one, we have got John Cena defeating Triple H for the WWE Championship. We've got Rey Mysterio defeating Randy Orton and Kurt Angle, winning it for Eddie Guerrero. Very emotional win. The first time second time, because the first time I cried was at the Royal Rumble win. This was the second time I actually teared up. Undertaker defeating Mark Henry, and Shawn Michaels defeating Mr. McMahon. Anthony, what are your thoughts on this one?
Like I said, most of these kind of like they all mesh together for me, but I'm gonna put it in the good show territory. It's kind of like in the middle of the pack there. Just interesting things. Big Show Kane, taking on Carlito and Chris Masters for the tag team titles. The Money in the Bank ladder match, Rob Van Dam wins. You know what happens after this with Rob Van Dam. That's pretty awesome. What happens there? JBL going against Chris Benoit. Edge versus Mick Foley in that hardcore match with the fire. Yeah. Nuts, absolute wild, crazy match. Mickey James and Trish Stratus was an interesting match. That's edited on the network currently, but it's pretty cool. Undertaker versus Mark Henry casket match usually kind of sucks, so it is what it is. Shawn Michaels versus Mr. McMahon, the ass beating that Mr. McMahon took in this match, you just gotta give him credit for. And then this was like the seeds of DX coming back, right? Like they started doing the suck it, both guys in this pay-per-view. Mysterio, Orton, Kurt Angle, awesome. You already know him winning the match. It was only a 9-minute match I see here, so it's really not that long. The final match, Cena, Triple H for the championship, 22 minutes long. It was a long match. Amazing how Triple H can fight an invisible man for that long, but I'd put it in a good show, but like kind of in the middle of the pack of good shows. I
dig that. How about you, Knock?
I agree with all these guys people said, but for me, I'll put this in the grandest stage of them all. The build up for Rey winning, like again, I'm making no secret. Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles are my favorite wrestlers of all time. I'm a huge Rey Mysterio fan. I try to study him. I grew up just loving everything he did from WCW, all that stuff. So to see him win this belt at Mania, that moment alone was like my favorite moment as a child watching wrestling. That was pure joy for me. I spent the whole build-up watching that. I hated what happened afterwards. They didn't really treat him as a champion afterwards. But for him to get this win over a guy in Kurt Angle I really liked, and Randy Orton, who I despised at the time, that was big for me, man. And again, Rey Mysterio winning the world title is the reason I hated Chavo Guerrero, because when he screwed over Rey later on in that year, I hated Chavo Guerrero for the rest of it took a while for me to get over that. I'll just say that. Like SmackDown vs. Raw would beat Chavo's ass all the time in the street though.
Oh man. Zach, where are you putting this one?
This was a good show. I mean, it had the high spots with Rey winning and everything like that. And then you go back down to Playboy Pillow Fight with was it Tori and Candice. Again, a lot of people, I don't know why where they're at. I don't remember storyline wise, but why do you have Ric Flair in a Money in the Bank match, man? Like, I don't know, man. I hopefully took it to Centrum Silver that day. But yeah, there's some good stuff in here, but a lot of bad stuff too. I don't agree with Boogeyman beating Booker T and Sharmell, so stuff is here and there on it.
It sucks to put Rey Mysterio, put the big moment in this category, but I'm gonna say good show. Just because Vince McMahon drug his feet the entire way with Rey Mysterio winning the championship. Even in this match, like he didn't even pin. I can't remember. He didn't pin Orton, did he?
He pinned Orton. He didn't pin Kurt Angle.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I remember like the match just being like 9 minutes. Like even the match itself, I feel like Vince just booked it as if he was dragging his feet, and then the reign itself was just like sad. It could have been something spectacular, but at the moment, I was so happy for Rey to win. That was a great moment. But
you could tell, like from the Royal Rumble wasn't the main event that year because Rey was winning it. And he knew that Rey, he couldn't believe that Rey could actually be like a main event because of his stature, right?
Yeah.
Because that should have been the main event. That should have been Rey winning in tribute to Eddie. Should have been the way the show went off the air. Both Royal Rumble and WrestleMania.
Yeah, it goes in a good show. That it was a great high moment, but it could have been a lot higher if Vince didn't just keep Rey down.
If who wasn't in the main event then?
Yeah. Next up. Next up, we've got
hilarious.
WrestleMania 23. We've got John Cena versus Shawn Michaels, which was a match that I think I said in the chat before was done better on Monday Night Raw the next day. In my opinion, we had Bobby Lashley versus Umaga for the Battle of the Billionaires, the ECW Originals versus the New Breed, Undertaker versus Batista, and Benoit versus MVP, and of course the Money in the Bank where Mr. Kennedy would win. Anthony, any thoughts on this one?
This one's gonna go like the mildest for me. It's just, yeah, you're right, because like I think John Cena and Shawn Michaels went like almost an hour the next night on Monday Night Raw after this, and yeah, this match was kind of a letdown. It should have been a little bit better. I thought this was gonna be Lashley's jumping off point where he's really going to jump into the main event picture and maybe win the title. Yeah. Undertaker Batista, I think, was the best match on the show with probably the Money in the Bank match. But Undertaker Batista was a really, really good match. I enjoyed that one a lot. It's the only match I really kind of liked throughout the entire thing. And yeah, it's going to be like in that category of the mildest of them all.
Yeah, I completely agree. At the time, this was back when I did like Bobby Lashley. I was really
don't give up on him yet, man. The title's coming.
It's your future champ right there.
I've given up. It's happening. I have a very complicated relationship with Bobby Lashley. But yeah, the Cena match could have been better. Undertaker and Batista, I loved that feud back then because I never knew who was going to win. They were both equally like booked to be strong. It was a great feud, but everything else just kind of meh. Even the Money in the Bank match doesn't matter because Mr. Kennedy loses it. So I agree, mildest stage of them all. How about you, Zach?
I'll agree. I almost want to put this as glorified house show, but yeah, mildest stage works for me. I don't need I don't know. The Lumberjill match wasn't good. I didn't give a shit about Donald Trump. The ECW originals, as a guy who's gone to ECW shows back in the day, even before they were even on television, like seeing this version of ECW kind of like maybe go, well, at least the ECW originals are getting a paycheck. I was a huge Elijah Burke fan too, and it just didn't work for me. So a lot of this didn't work for me. Great Khali never works for me. And yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. I forgot Elijah Burke was even on this card. I implore you, Eric, to go see his TNA stuff, man. He was killing it over there. But his WWE run was very forgettable. Taker Batista, like you guys said, this one, the Great Khali, his shine started wearing off for me. Like when he debuted against Taker, he looked so dominant. I was like, damn, who is this? Then I found out, he really can't wrestle. So I'm gonna go mildest stage for me.
I dig that. All right, down to the mildest stage. Next up, WrestleMania 24. We've got Kane defeating ECW champion Chavo to win the title. We've got Randy Orton defeating Triple H and John Cena to retain the WWE Championship. Undertaker would defeat Edge to keep his title. And The Big Show, who is now All Elite, would defeat Floyd Money Mayweather. Anthony, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to put this one in the good show category just because of like 3 matches. Some interesting things on this show. I see CM Punk wins the Money in the Bank ladder match, which was awesome. It was a good match. Batista versus Umaga for 7 minutes. I mean, it doesn't seem like that got enough time, maybe, but if maybe if it went longer, it might have been even worse. Who knows? But Kane versus Chavo went 11 seconds for the ECW Championship. You had Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, which is probably Ric Flair's maybe best match of all time, and it was an awesome match. And you have Undertaker versus Edge, and that's in that match for the heavyweight championship. I thought it was a really, really good match. That feud between Undertaker and Edge is really well done. I was at the Royal Rumble this year because it was at the Garden, and I saw Cena win, and I was excited. Then when they made it a triple threat match, it kind of blew it for me. I just didn't really care anymore. And I'm gonna put it in a good show, mainly just because of the Money in the Bank, Shawn Michaels, Flair, and Undertaker Edge.
I remember when John Cena won the Rumble. This was the first time, and that was like a super Cena mark back then, when I was like, why? Like, this makes absolutely no sense. Because he used it to get a match, not at Mania, but at like, what was it? No Way Out. Yeah.
No Way Out? Like that?
Whatever was like in between. It's like, why would you not just wait till Mania? What there's no purpose to this. So that was strange.
Smart. I've seen Total Divas.
I hate to put Shawn and Rick in the good show category because I used to watch that. I watch that match every year. That is, I dream of having a match that good, but the rest of the card didn't live up, so I'll say good show. How about you, Knock?
Yeah, it's good show literally only because of that, and then Taker and Edge in the main event, which again, this is the part of the time where like I hated Edge, and I started liking him because I started realizing, oh, he's really good heel. He's a really good wrestler. Because when he came over to SmackDown, he pinned Taker. I was furious. So he did his job there. And I think his entrance. This is one of the best entrances in Mania history. But damn, that Orton versus Triple H Cena was terrible to me. I didn't like it at all. So good show. They really had a bunny Mania match. That's what they called it.
Yeah, times are tough. Zach, what about you?
I'll put in good show, that's fine, but part of me is just going to explain why I could go to This Is WrestleMania. If you want to look at how to pace a WrestleMania, this is almost a blueberry towel. You just needed better matches for it. This, in my opinion, was one of the best opening matches in WrestleMania. The Belfast Brawl, JBL beat Finlay. I didn't give two shits about this match, but by the time it was done, I wanted to send these guys like care packages for the effort they put into it.
Yeah.
And of course, all the reasons you guys said, so.
Very nice. All right. Anthony, I got yours, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, it goes into good show. Sorry, Rick. Sorry, Sean. But that's where you're going. Next up, we're almost there. We're getting there. WrestleMania 25. We've got the Colognes, Carlito and Primo defeating John Morrison and The Miz for the WWE and World Tag Team Championships. CM Punk would win Money in the Bank. Santina Marella would make her fabulous win in the Miss WrestleMania Battle Royale. Chris Jericho would have to mainly do a match with Jimmy Snuka, but he would defeat Jimmy Snuka, Ricky Steamboat, and Roddy Piper. Actually, no, not Jimmy Snuka. Ricky Steamboat was the one who carried that match. What am I saying? And Matt Hardy would defeat Jeff Hardy in the Extreme Rules match. Rey Mysterio would defeat JBL and retire him in 20 seconds. John Cena would defeat Big Show and Edge, and Triple H would defeat Randy Orton if Triple H was counted out or disqualified, he would lose the title match. Knock, what are your thoughts on this one?
Oh man, again, this is where like I like the Triple H Randy Orton feud. I really did like the build up, but like their matches really fell so short for me. So it was really hard to get into that for like the main event of Mania. But I mean, Taker Michaels on this card. This is damn near grand stage of them all, but I'm putting it in the high end of This Is WrestleMania because the actual main event kind of fell short for me. Who else is on this card? Yeah, that's all I got to really say about that.
Fair enough. How about you, Zach?
Undertaker Michaels is the only thing I cared about on this card. I'm going to put this in the mildest stage of them all. This is just, I don't know. This is where WWE was caught between like pushing Cena too much, but also doing stuff for stockholders and not really figuring out future stars. Again, this is the time this and like a little bit beforehand where people like Morrison and Benjamin should have been pushed to take on, like Anthony said, the new regime that was coming up here with Batista and Cena, and they just never planned that. So people started getting like worn out to me. Like Orton and Triple H were putting on very boring matches that never lived up to the promos. So yeah, it was the mildest stage of them all.
All right, Anthony?
Yeah, I totally agree with Zach. I mean, it's mildest stage for me. That whole Triple H Randy Orton storyline going into this was kind of interesting. I mean, they had that where Triple H stormed, Randy Orton's staged house with his wife screaming for like 20 minutes. The part where he handcuffed Triple H and kissed Stephanie. So
awkward.
I thought it would have been better, but it just wasn't, and it just was like they didn't want to just change things and get new people. It's similar to now, basically. He just doesn't want to change what's going and proving commodities. He just wants to keep them there. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels is the best thing on the show by far. Matt and Jeff was good to see them in a WrestleMania match against each other. I'm sure it was amazing for them just as individuals. CM Punk winning 2 times in a row. It just really wasn't there. I think Chris Jericho was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be against Mickey Rourke because the time The Wrestler came out, the movie. It just didn't really work out, and they had whatever they did with him with Ricky Steamboat and all that. It just it's really lackluster when I go back and look at it now. And John Cena, Edge, and Big Show. The only thing I remember about that match is when he put them both in the Attitude Adjustment and hit him with that. That's pretty much the only thing I remember about that match in general. Yeah.
I will say one thing I do like that came out of the Chris Jericho versus the Legends match is after that, Ricky Steamboat would do a bunch of house shows with Jericho, and they killed it. Like the fans loved this match. And then there was one point I think where they were at a house show in Steamboat's territory, and they've been doing like the same finish the whole time, where Jericho would go over, but Jericho told them, like whispered in his ear, do the finish with Savage. And he let Steamboat go over, and the crowd just went crazy for a house show. You do not get that today. Man. You just do not get that. But as for this show, mildest stage of them all. I know I sound like I hate everything that wrestling has to offer at this point, but I was not a big fan of Triple H and Randy Orton as a feud. I did not like it. Only thing that really stands out to me, like Zach said, was Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. So I'm going to put that mildest stage of them all.
We do promo school on the show to end every week. It's just kind of like ways to differentiate promos and these guys as independent wrestlers to kind of like, well, you can't train right now during COVID to keep doing it. Orton and Triple H do the exact same promo.
Yeah.
And that's why those feuds don't work.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, so this is the tagline for this. This is the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania. Your 25th event is not your 25th anniversary. 26 is a 25th anniversary. Just something for anyone who ever promotes something again. I don't know why WWE doesn't know how to count. Just it irks me every time they speak about this WrestleMania. They have hundreds of people working for that damn company, and no one said, "Hey Vince, you got the damn count wrong." It's ridiculous. But we go on.
Fire.
We go on WrestleMania 26. This card we have Yoshitatsu. Gosh, I forgot about Yoshitatsu. I don't know what he's up to.
I did too, man. Damn.
That dude was just Botchmania for a while, but now I don't know where he's at. Anyway, Yoshitatsu would defeat 25 other men in a battle royal, eliminating Zack Ryder last. Show-Miz would win the unified WWE Tag Team Championships from John Morrison, R-Truth. Randy Orton would defeat Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase. Jack Swagger would win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Triple H would defeat Sheamus. And last but not least, Undertaker would defeat Shawn Michaels in the Streak versus Career match. This is a tough one for me. I'm gonna say good show because of the main event, but there's that Bret Hart versus Mr. McMahon match really brings it down for me. So I'm gonna put in good show and toss it over to you, Locke. Where would you put this one?
Again, I'm gonna go. This is WrestleMania, man. Taker Michaels just carries so much weight for me, and especially the second match they had. I wasn't the biggest fan of Jericho versus Edge. Like, they had a good match. They worked solid, but I don't think it was great. But knowing what happened with after Edge and his injury, I appreciate this match more. Mysterio versus CM Punk as well. I really liked. I love what CM Punk was doing.
That's right.
He sung "Happy Birthday" to Aaliyah Mysterio in a crowd and got booed. He sang "Happy Birthday" to a child that gets booed. He was doing great heel work. So I love that storyline. So I think this is WrestleMania for me.
That's fair. How about you, Zach?
This was mild for me as well. Not too much really doing it for me. The thing that really throws me off, other than the Brett Vince thing, didn't work one bit. He didn't want to be there. The legacy storytelling was way off for me. This should have been a bigger deal. Randy should have put someone else over. I thought this was just a huge missed opportunity. It kind of soured me on the rest of the card, but of course, Undertaker and Shawn kind of saved it for me.
All right, Anthony.
Yeah, mildest for me as well. Yeah, Chris Jericho and Edge, I thought it was a good match. I enjoy the two together. Obviously, there was a built-in storyline in there when Edge returned at the Rumble. But Edge lost, so I mean, it is what it is. Bret Hart versus Mr. McMahon. It's the fact that they just brought the whole Hart family in there to beat McMahon's ass. It was kind of like, I guess, like a fan service to anybody that was really still upset over the Montreal Screwjob. Triple H versus Sheamus is a match completely forgettable. Jack Swagger with that Money in the Bank was absolutely terrible. And I'm looking at the amount of people in that match. It's like 20 guys in that Money in the Bank match. Literally, it's Christian, Ziggler, McIntyre, Bourne, Kane, Kofi, Matt Hardy, MVP, Benjamin, and Jack Swagger. It's like 30 guys in there. The legacy thing, I agree with Zach. It should have been much bigger. The match should have been won by Cody Rhodes. And it's just another wasted guy that they wasted. Yeah, and obviously the Undertaker and Shawn, this is I think the best one out of the two they had was this one. And I especially like how the way Shawn came out in all white, like he was coming down from the heavens in his entrance.
Yeah, that was it.
But just the rest of it, I did like the John Cena Batista. I like when they go after each other. Batista and John Cena, I always like that feud they had for the most part. But yeah, it's not there. For me, it's mildest.
Yeah, Batista's a very underrated heel during that run. I really enjoyed that stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The whole spotlight thing he had going on. Yeah,
that was dope.
All right. Well, before we get to WrestleMania 27, let's take another quick break and just a quick prediction, I guess. It might be a little too early because the card's still shaping out, but where do you guys think this year's WrestleMania is going to go on this list? Do you guys see it being the grandest stage of the all, the worst show? What do you guys think?
I would have to say it's probably gonna be mild. Mild, yeah.
Think so?
The way the card is kind of shaping up, there's not really a lot that has a lot of meat on the bone, and I think they've kind of booked themselves into a couple corners here and there, and I mean, I'll be excited to see if Lashley and McIntyre actually delivers if that's the final matchup. The Bad Bunny stuff, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he's a fan and all. I just want to see if the Miz is going to be thrown in there or is going to be Garza, and how that's going to work out. There's a lot of interesting things. I mean, Sasha versus Bianca, I think that match, I'm excited for it, but I have the feeling it's not going to deliver the way people want it to. And Edge versus Roman, I think everything Roman does right now is just absolute gold.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's I feel like it's going to be a mild one. It's going to be kind of forgettable.
Yeah, for me, if they can get the WWE title shot right with Lashley in there, it's going to raise it for me. But just 2 matches, Edge and Roman and Sasha, Bianca, which I think Sasha has to win because she's the only one of the 4 horsewomen who hasn't won at Mania yet. But I don't know how that's going to go. But I think it'll be I'm hoping for a good show at least, but I don't see it being better than that.
I really hope it's a good show because we're going to have to stream it. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good show because you have those 2 marquee matches, and then you have the Raw title. That's going to be what it's going to be, but you need people like Daniel Bryan to tell people that you need to up your game on this WrestleMania because of what we lost last year. You need those people in the locker room to do that because Vince isn't going to do it. Talent in WWE is going to rely on booking. If I'm not booked in a big match, well then, I don't know. It's just weird nowadays because I do want to see more matches where it's just going to be more technical wrestling in this Mania. People just showcasing talent and not really caring about I don't say not caring about the storyline, but I mean, they need to showcase who they are this WrestleMania. And I think that if they have that mindset, we'll get a lot of Steamboat versus Savages.
Yeah. It's weird not seeing AJ have a clear path. And then they always forget about Asuka around this time.
Yeah, a lot of people are just in limbo right now. They don't really know. They have like no clear path, and it may just end up being a bunch of just random matches or a bunch of I feel like the tag team titles are all going to be multi-tag matches, like multi-tag team matches, like a bunch of people.
100%.
Yeah, a mean ass just cluster of stuff going on. Yeah, especially with the 2 nights. Now you don't know what the Fiend and Orton are going to do. Probably some cinematic thing. Who knows if that hits or not? But.
Actually, I think you're wrong. They don't have tag teams that fill up a cluster. Actually.
They don't have enough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna throw something together. Probably let AJ and Omos become a tag team. Just jump in there.
yeah, exactly.
Oh man, but here's open for a great show. We'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe they won't. We'll see. Let's get back on track. We're gonna head into WrestleMania 27. We've got The Miz defeating. Well, defeating is a strong word because John Cena can never be beat, but he somehow got the championship from John Cena with the help of The Rock. John Morrison, Trish Stratus, and their best friend Snooki would defeat Dolph Ziggler and Layla and Michelle McCool. The Undertaker would defeat Triple H in a no-holds-barred match. Randy Orton would defeat CM Punk, and Cody Rhodes would defeat Rey Mysterio. Also, Edge, with the help of Christian, would defeat Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship match. Zach, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'll put this one as a good show. I was entertained by it. I don't say Snooki wowed me, but I was just like happy she actually did something. But it had a decent card on there, and the whole like Miz John Cena thing surprised me. So yeah, I mean it was a good show.
Yeah. How about you, Anthony?
I'm gonna put this one in the glorified house show section, for the most part, mainly because we just don't have enough at the bottom of the list. But I think just also too, it's just I think this is just a bad year for WWE in general. The Triple H and Undertaker was like the best match in the show to me. Remember they had Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler in this match. And on this thing, it was Austin as a special guest referee. And that went almost 14 minutes long. The Miz thing, it was all about The Rock, right? Because the match ended and then The Rock comes and restarts it and then helps The Miz win because he wants to take on John Cena next year at WrestleMania. So it's just, it didn't really do it for me. It's just a lot of stuff that just, it's a weird time for the company. And I just feel like it's probably one of their worst years. And for me, it's going to go in the glorified house show.
Yeah, I'll actually lower mine too. I think I was drunk that night. That's why I liked it.
I'll do you one better. This is the lamest stage of them all. This pay-per-view was terrible. That Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler should not have been that long. That was a drag. And this is around the time where I kind of started I kind of stopped watching WWE for a little bit. I started going over to like New Japan, TNA, a lot of the other indie stuff. It was hard to watch WWE around this time.
I completely agree with Knock. I also put it in. This is actually my least favorite WrestleMania of all time. I hate this WrestleMania because the entire purpose of this WrestleMania was to set up next year with The Rock and Cena, and that pisses me off to think that people bought tickets for this show just for the prequel to next year's. Like that's just disrespectful to me. I hate this WrestleMania with passion. And then also the Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler thing. Even if you're not a fan of Jerry Lawler now, it's really weird that he didn't win that match at Mania. Like you could just give him that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So yeah, I hate this Mania with a very strong passion. But we've got 2-2. I'm
gonna change it to lamest. I'm gonna change it to lamest. Just it's nice to shit on
up my
stuff
memory.
sometimes. Everyone. We'll shit on it. Yeah, it's lamest. I mean, it's a spot that they could have gave CM Punk instead of the Miz as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. If we ever do a punishment where we have to watch a WrestleMania, this would be mine because I just can't stand it. All right, next up, WrestleMania 28. We've got Cena versus The Rock for the once in a lifetime, never to happen again. You better have seen it because it will not happen again match. We've got The Undertaker defeating Triple H. We've got Team Johnny versus Team Teddy. To determine who will be the general manager of both Raw and SmackDown. I forgot about that match. CM Punk would defeat Chris Jericho, and The Rock would defeat John Cena. Nog, where you put this one?
I'm gonna go good show. This is the Mania which they were building for the year prior. I actually liked The Rock versus Cena. I like the promos they had between each other. It was cool to see them go at each other. These were like the big stars. Who else in this card? It was criminal that Sheamus beat Daniel Bryan that fast at the meeting. That was criminal. Yeah. But I think it's just a good show for me.
It's criminal, but it really did help his rise. It was one of those key things that really helped him. How about you, Anthony? Where'd you put this one at?
All right, so I look at this one, and I was there. So this is the first Mania I ever went to. I was at this one, and
nice.
For me, the experience, just being there, raises it up. But I'm gonna put it in the mild. This is tough right here. I'm gonna put in mildest right now. All right, so the Sheamus Daniel Bryan thing, 18 seconds, but it was the start of the Yes movement. I remember being there and people were already doing the chants of Yes movement. Big Show, Cody Rhodes, I feel like that could have been better, and Cody Rhodes probably should have won that match. Big Show didn't need to be IC champ. Undertaker, Triple H, I thought it was an awesome match. It was it went a little bit too long, but it was awesome because the way Shawn Michaels was there, the send off they had at the end, even though it really wasn't much of a send off because they still stayed around. Yeah. The Team Johnny, Team Teddy thing, I thought was just absolute dog shit. I mean, the fact that was like the death of Zack Ryder's character. Like he just fell off so hard. Like that whole run he had with Eve, and he was in the wheelchair, and John Cena, CM Punk, Chris Jericho. It was a pretty good match. I felt like it should have had a little bit more spotlight put on it. It was a lot of stuff. I think they brought out the liquor bottle in this one too. Because they had the whole thing where CM Punk and his family, Chris Jericho was talking trash about Rock and Cena. If you watch the match, it's very basic. It's a very basic match. But the crowd that day was just so hot. It's like Hollywood, like Hogan. It's similar to that. People they were rabid. I mean, there's a time when people just despise John Cena, and they wanted him to just basically be killed in the ring by the Rock. So they were asking for. As a lady behind me was telling him, the lady behind me was like, "Kill him, Rock, kill him!" Like just 45 minutes.
Did you get her number?
No, I should have. I probably should have.
That's Florida for you.
She probably would have been the one I ended up with, and it was the right move to have the Rock win this. And it's just, it's just fan service at that point. But I'll put it like in the mildest, but just because I was there, I'll bump it up closer to good.
Fair enough. How about you, Zach? Where are we putting this one?
I'm going to put it mild. They tried to make too many moments happen. The Sheamus title thing didn't work for me. A lot of this didn't work. You guys summed it up. The Rock and Cena didn't work for me either. Mainly because WWE's biggest problem with their storylines is people in WWE leaking those storylines. We knew before this match was going to happen, this is going to be settled in a rubber match 3 years down the road. And it was just like, I don't really care to watch this one again. So it was all right.
I'm torn. Knock, what was your vote again?
I think I went with good show. Yeah. It was a good show for me. I really liked Rock and Cena.
I'll put it the low end of good show. I want to say mildest, just because I really, looking at like the people in this like Team Teddy, Team Johnny match, these are people that they just had nothing to do. Like they were like, we're just gonna stick you in this match, and that's how you get a payday.
I think it ended with Eve Torres like kicking Zack Ryder like in the balls, right? That's the way it ended the match.
Which is sadly the only thing I remember from that match. Which, like you said, that was the death of Zack Ryder. Like the dude legit worked his way up into like up the ranks through popularity and like his YouTube channel, and this is what he got. And then Primo and Epico versus Tyson Kidd, Justin Gabriel, and the Usos. It was only 5 minutes. I that sounds like a match that should be longer. I'm convincing myself that it should go in good show, so I'm just gonna put it there and stop talking myself out of it. The lowest end of good show, the very lowest end. But next up, a match so nice we had to do it twice. Cena and Rock, they go at it again.
It was once in a lifetime.
That's what I thought. I ordered the first one because I was told it was once in a lifetime.
They got us.
Triple H with Shawn Michaels would defeat Brock Lesnar. Had Triple H lost, he would be forced to retire. The Undertaker would defeat CM Punk. Alberto Del Rio would defeat Jack Swagger. And Fandango would defeat Chris Jericho. A booking decision that absolutely no one can disagree with. Anthony, what are your thoughts on this one?
All right, I was at this one too. This one was at MetLife over here in Jersey, so I went to this one. Yeah, I'm gonna put this one in a glorified house show department. And like as the year before, I saw it higher because I was there. This one, I actually saw it for what it was because I was there. You had some interesting things on this show. I mean, Miz versus Wade Barrett. Miz beats Barrett. The Shield was their first WrestleMania. They took on Big Show, Randy Orton, and Sheamus. Just a random team to take on the Shield. But that was what it was. Really not all that great. Fandango. I have a soft spot in my heart for Fandango. I really do. I enjoy Fandango. I just think he just seems like a funny guy in real life. And him and Tyler Breeze, I think, it's like one of my favorite tag teams. But that match was not good. Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger for the World Heavyweight Championship was really not a match you could sink your teeth into. Undertaker CM Punk was the best match on the show. It was the main event of the show. It was Triple H beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. It makes no sense, especially the way you see Brock Lesnar the following year end the streak.
Exactly.
And then John Cena versus The Rock. You did it twice. It wasn't the right choice. It's just The Rock won the titles, took it off of CM Punk just to do this, to give it to John Cena, and it just didn't make much sense. I know they had a 2-year program already set up, but it didn't need to happen, and he didn't even have the title involved in it.
Completely agree. Anthony, let me ask you a question.
Yes,
this might be difficult because it's on the spot, but from 2010 to today, would you say that this reign was the best WWE Championship reign when The Rock had it from 2010 till today? Would you say that nobody else topped it?
No, I think CM Punk's title run. Well, that was prior, right? That was before that one.
Yeah.
So explain to me why these two, with the day that I don't show up, they vote The Rock this championship reign as S-class in our WWE Champions tier list. I will never forget this.
So they say that this reign from it was the Rumble to WrestleMania was the best reign.
Go back and check the video, folks. That is what happened, isn't it? You guys are silent. That is what happened.
I don't. I mean, to me, I can't see. I mean, I know they got rid of the spinner because of him, and they brought in the new style belt, but I don't see.
I'm gonna go ahead and defend myself. I think I incorporated all of the Rock's WWE title reigns in that video. It wasn't just this one.
Look at the title, folks. 2010 to present day. This is why I do not show up. I'm gonna stop skipping tier lists because this is what happens when I'm not there.
I think CM Punk probably be like the best because it was the longest. I mean, it's probably the best run. I mean, from that time period. I can't really remember any other like runs that really that memorable during the time period.
I just have the shame of any chance I get. But focusing on this one, I'm willing to put it mildest stage of them all. Didn't The Rock get injured like the first minute of the match? Like
he got injured the year prior and this one. He's too,
Damn.
And that's why there wasn't a rubber match to end this as they planned, because the movie he was working on, the studio's like, your shit's done, and now contracts from The Rock from studios all over now have clauses he can't wrestle while he's under contract.
Yeah, his body's a little bit too tight that he keeps tearing stuff every match he has.
Yeah. Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger. Not even on SmackDown would I be hyped for that match. I just wasn't a big fan of them. Taker to CM Punk. Great match. The only thing that, like, looking at these last 3 matches, they were all at least 22 minutes, and that would exhaust me. I must have been exhausted watching this back then. Mild, this would kind of put me to sleep seeing those 3 matches that long back to back to back. How about you, Zach?
This is a glorified house show for me. Undertaker and Punk was good, but again, the 3 matches were so long. I started checking my watch. There's so much I don't care about on this card. And Anthony, I did see Dolph Ziggler come out here in LA to do stand up, and he brought Fandango and Tyler Breeze, and they both are very funny in person.
Yeah, they just feel like it. Like they're both very entertaining guys.
Yeah.
How about you, Doc?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with mild for me. Taker, CM Punk. I could skip Triple H versus Brock, and then I enjoyed the main event as well. But Taker, CM Punk was the highlight.
I dig it. That's 3 votes for mildest, right?
Yeah.
I believe so. Alrighty. Next up, we have got ourselves WrestleMania 29. No, we don't. My
It's
notes
30,
are
30.
30.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's going on with my notes here? Next up, we got WrestleMania 30. This one we have Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan in the lumberjack match for the United States Championship. We'd have Edge with Chris. Hang on a second. What is going on? Why am I literally pressed 30 and it's reading me 29 again.
I got you real quick, bro. John Cena beating Bray Wyatt. Lesnar ending the streak. We have that famous gif of that guy with his face. Divas champ AJ Lee defeat Vicky Guerrero, and world champion Daniel Bryan defeated Randy Orton and Batista to become the unified WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Thank you very much, Knock. Let's see. For this one, I'll go ahead and start it off. Another Usos match. I really don't remember, and I wish I did, because I want to say it was a good match.
It was on the pre-show, and yeah.
Okay, so that's why. For the Daniel Bryan stuff, that was a really big moment. Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker. I want to put it in good show. I can't put it in mildest because my heart literally sank when Brock Lesnar defeated The Undertaker. That's not mild. I think
Yeah, I
I'm
was
gonna
gonna say this is the grandest stage.
really.
Yeah, I'll put us in the grandest stage, man.
With the Shield defeating the New Age Outlaws and Kane.
Damn, actually. Okay, it wasn't for that, and if it wasn't for Cena defeating Bray Wyatt in that match.
AJ and Vicky.
All right, fine. I'll go. This is WrestleMania for me because you can't. That Daniel Bryan yes move. This is the culmination of the yes move, man. That was an amazing moment. And then Lesnar beating Taker. That is ridiculous. Like that is insane to see.
You talked me into
That's
it.
a moment.
That is WrestleMania. That Daniel Bryan moment was really cool. I'll agree with you. I'll move mine up. This is WrestleMania. How about you, Zach?
Yeah, this is WrestleMania. These are the moments we want, and this is what we got delivered to us. Yeah, I'm not a Shield guy, so for me, watching a Shield match is always just like, it bores the hell out of me. And some of these other things were pretty good in it, though. This is back when the Andre Memorial Battle Royal was watchable, and you're kind of like seeing what people who didn't get spots on the show would do. But yeah, Brock winning, like I didn't expect that. I was expecting a kick out or whatever, but it got me. Those were many moments.
Yeah, so was the referee. Anthony, how about you, man?
Yeah, I'd put in the good show. I'm sorry, this is WrestleMania, and it's an interesting event. I mean, you had the way it started off after the pre-show was The Rock, Austin, and Hogan in the ring together, which was pretty just a nuts like way to start it. You see those 3 guys in the ring. So it had a good start. So then you had Daniel Bryan with Triple H, which was a good match. Daniel Bryan wins it. Yeah, Shield taking on Kane and the New Age Outlaws, like the weirdest thing ever. Cesaro winning the first ever Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. You kind of thought the thing was going to mean something, but it didn't.
Nope.
Disaster. Then he gets the endorsement from Hogan the night after. It was, John Cena beating Bray Wyatt was probably one of the worst decisions they ever did. And then, they doubled it by doing another worst decision next year with John Cena the year after. Lesnar winning, obviously it's a massive moment. Who knows what the guy is doing that had the reaction in the front row with the big eyes? Like, what is he up to nowadays? Like, did he make any money off of that? That's what I'm trying to find out. Like,
that's a hell of a point.
What kind of paycheck did this guy get, like, for doing that?
That's what he looks like when he gets his paycheck.
Exactly. I thought I would have got more. AJ Lee, I see here AJ Lee's taking on Oksana, Alicia Fox, Brie Bella, Cameron, Emma, Eva Marie, Layla, Naomi, Natalia, Nikki, Bella, Rosa Mendez, Summer Rae, Tamina. Like, I mean, that was a disservice to AJ Lee there. And obviously Daniel Bryan winning at the end. It's just a great moment. I mean, it is. It's like that moment was like, I mean, I know it was predetermined and it was planned out at the last minute to kind of do it, but it feels like it's just kind of like an FU to the corporate structure of WWE and kind of like to the like an establishment FU. That's what it felt like in terms of it happening. But I would put it in like, this is WrestleMania.
Yeah. It's a shame AJ Lee never got her like singles mania moment. I know she won with Paige the next year, but like just a singles match.
Right.
Just wrong timing.
Yeah. All right. It goes into This Is WrestleMania. We're going on to WrestleMania 31, but the first match was Tyson Kidd and Cesaro would defeat Los Matadors, the New Day, and the Usos. Big Show would win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Daniel Bryan would defeat Bad News Barrett, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, R-Truth, and Stardust for the Intercontinental Championship. Randy Orton would defeat Seth Rollins in the singles match. Undertaker would defeat Bray Wyatt. Cena would defeat Rusev, as you mentioned before, Anthony. And Seth Rollins would shock the world at the heist of the century and cash in to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Zach, what are your thoughts on this one?
This was a mild one for me. I was so looking forward to this Mania, but man, did they just drop the ball on so much. That Sting match was like the worst booked thing ever. It was just Vince like loving the fact that he can rewrite history, saying that he won. There's no reason to do this to Sting. And they fucked over Rusev so bad with this loss to Cena. You have a guy come out there as big as like a villain in the 80s and you just squashed him by Cena, who doesn't need it. I did like Undertaker and Bray. I thought that was kind of cool, but again, they could have done more with the gimmicks. But yeah, this didn't really do it for me.
How about you, Knock?
Yeah, Rusev was like a Bond villain, man. Come out there in the tank with Lana doing her accent back in the dead. Yeah, this was a huge disservice to Sting. You have Sting and Taker, probably the biggest dream match in the history. Everyone's been called for that, and we don't do that. And then we miss out on it because, Sting had that injury. But damn, man, the best cash-in of Money in the Bank ever with Seth Rollins at the end. That's what saved it a little bit. But I think it's kind of mild for me.
All right, Anthony?
I'm going to put this one in the glorified house show. This is an interesting one. I have a lot of beef with this one because this was the second ever event WrestleMania did on the network, and the connection was just absolute trash. And it kept having it was so bad. Like it didn't want to like clear up. So I have a major issue with that in general. But pre-show, I mean, you had Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, which is a tag team I really liked a lot. They won their match. You had the Andre Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which meant nothing, which was a disaster because remember how over Mizdow was, Damien Mizdow. He was at that point, right? Mm-hmm. He was so entertaining and creative, and he really bought into the character he was doing, the stunt double kind of character. And he gets limited by the Big Show, which was pointless. Big Show doesn't need it. I mean, I know you want to pay. He's like the new Andre or whatever, the second coming of. He was advertised WCW as the son of Andre. So then the ladder match for the Intercontinental IC Championship, I thought it was a good match. I thought Daniel Bryan, especially the end where he hit those headbutts and then he ended up grabbing the belt, was a good spot. And it was good to see, but it's just sad what happened after that. Randy versus Seth is just because of that RKO. I mean, shameless plug. I made a video. It's very short. It's like the 5 best RKOs out of nowhere. That's like number 2 on the list. So if you want to check that one out, but that's just the awesome RKO. Evan Bourne is the number 1 on that one. Spoiler alert. Yeah. And Triple H and Sting is just like, yeah, you should have done Undertaker Sting. That was your one shot to do it. It's just they want to do it because it's NWO versus DX, and Vince is like loves rubbing it in that we won the war, which is it's his right to do. He can do whatever he wants. And he has the claim that he did win it, but it was just pointless. And it was, I see here, 18 and a half minutes, just super long for no reason.
So Kevin Nash had to carefully make his way down to the ring.
Nash himself. Yeah, and John Cena Rusev, that's a disaster in itself. Rusev should have won. It was the right would have been the right move to make. His entrance was amazing, phenomenal on the tank. Undertaker, Bray Wyatt. I mean, if you're gonna do it, I think this hurts Bray Wyatt. And the fact that they did during the, I think the match was still during the day because it was on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
It kind of hurts it, but I think they should have went with Bray Wyatt because the streak was already over the year prior. I mean, unless just don't do the match then if you're not going to do it. And the steal of the century, Seth and Roman, steal. I thought that Lesnar Roman match was actually good. I thought it was a good match. It was real physical. Roman got his ass beat, and he kept fighting it. And then Rollins coming out. It was the perfect ending for a good WrestleMania, but this just wasn't a good WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, when you go back and look at that match, it wasn't like Roman and Brock wasn't a bad match. It's just the crowd was not into it whatsoever. So I'll agree with you. It's a glorified house show because Seth Rollins winning was done like in the moment. Like they really had to save the show. It's a great moment, but just not a great WrestleMania. So I'm happy putting that. Let's say the high end of glorified house show.
I noticed a lot of trends here at Triple H each Mania where he's kind of trying to go with whatever's hot at the moment, whatever's big, like Sting and Daniel Bryan. Reminds me of Chris Jericho now in AEW.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, next up, we've got WrestleMania 32. Triple H is walking in with the title. Roman Reigns is going to take it from him. We also have Kalisto defeating Ryback for the WWE United States Championship. Before I go on with this, I will start a petition. I need Kalisto to win the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship. I want him to become a Grand Slam because this man has just somehow snuck his way into getting everything else. Like, I don't understand how he does it, who he's politicking, but he somehow gets everything. We've got Team Total Divas versus Team Bad and Blonde, Emma, Lana, Naomi, and Summer Rae, and Tamina. The Usos would defeat the Dudley Boys. Zack Ryder would defeat Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Sami Zayn, Sin Cara, and Stardust for the IC Championship. Jericho would defeat AJ Styles. And Brock Lesnar would defeat Dean Ambrose. Charlotte would defeat Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. And in the main event, Roman Reigns would defeat Triple H. 12 matches total. Kind of a long card.
That's when they started getting real long.
Yeah. And that doesn't even cover Undertaker and Shane. But Anthony, what do you think about this one?
All right, there's another one. I was there for this one. I went to this one, and AT&T Stadium was just nuts in general. So it like in my eyes, it seemed better than it actually was. But I'm gonna put this one at the lamest stage of them all because all those injuries going into this year. With Rollins, tearing his ACL, and it's just so many things going on that you didn't see as much as you probably should have. Probably would have been a much better event because they were trying to go all out for the big stadium that they were in. If I look down the card, you had the whole League of Nations with the New Day against the New Day thing, and then you had at the end, here comes Austin, Shawn Michaels, and Mick Foley, and they just beat the hell out of all the young guys for no reason. If Austin does it, I'm cool, but everybody else, I'm not happy with. Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose, you know the story behind that. Brock Lesnar didn't want to do anything. The hype to that match was, you had Terry Funk, you had Mick Foley giving him they were like excited for the match or whatever they were building up. They gave him the barbed wire 2x4, and he thought it was gonna be a crazy match, which probably should have, because Ambrose is down to do whatever, Moxley's down to do whatever. But that match was a disappointment. The triple threat for the women's championship, I remember it fondly. It was a good match. I think it's just more the fact that they changed from divas to women at that point, and it really just kind of ushered in the new era. Undertaker versus Shane, it's not a good match. It's just I remember it for Shane doing that crazy stuff of jumping off the top. That's the only thing I remember from it. The Andre the Giant was pointless and useless as usual. The Rock coming out and then taking on Eric Rowan and beating him in 6 seconds with Cena, and it's just like there's no point. It's just to have him out there. And then Reigns, Triple H. That stadium was not having that match. We were not having it. It was terrible. It was boring. It was 27 minutes long, and Reigns got booed out of the building, and it's just I couldn't stand it. For me, best match of the show was the women's triple threat, and then Chris Jericho, AJ Styles. I'm with Knock. I love AJ Styles. That's like my main guy. And this was the trying out period because he just came into the company. And then you obviously know what happened to him the night afterwards. So I'll put this one at the bottom of the list, lamest stage of them all.
I was going to put it a little higher because of AJ, but I think he's right. There's a lot of bad stuff. There's no reason League of Nations should beat the New Day and then have the New Day get beat up afterwards. That was just dumb. I would honestly say, though, to this point, this is the best women's match on Mania ever. they showed out, man. I love how Sasha Banks, when she dives to the ring, does a little flip. That's really cool. And Charlotte is one of the greatest. It was great to see AJ back on the card, on a Mania card, man. But I don't think he should have lost to Jericho. But it's still a really good match. I'm gonna go mild.
I'm gonna put it in the bottom of the barrel. There's no, like I said, Shane McMahon was my favorite character in all of professional wrestling until kind of this point when he came back and he, for some reason, truly believed that he could handle, like he could match up with any wrestler in the world for some reason. There's no reason that he should have 30 minutes on any WrestleMania card. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. The Rock defeating Eric Rowan was just strange. That was weird 6 seconds. Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, that was disappointing, of course. Like, it really sucks because you look at that, you know, John Moxley was disappointed. Like, he really wanted to build something with that. Yeah, this card doesn't do it for me. The main event was just not good. They forced it. They forced it down everybody's throat. How about you, Zach?
Well, I'm glad Anthony said it first because I thought I was gonna get shit for it. But yeah, this is one of my least favorite manias of all time. I hate this. This is such a lame mania. Nothing worked for me on here. Yeah, you guys discussed it enough. The only thing I ever remember about this that I liked was the women's championship match.
Yeah.
Everything else just sucked.
I mean, fuck the Cowboys, but that stadium was amazing.
Oh man. All right. Next up, we got 4 left. The final 4. WrestleMania 33. It's the ultimate thrill ride. The best tagline in all professional wrestling. We've got Neville defeating Austin Aries on, I want to say this was the pre-show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
This is why Austin Aries or Neville, I think, left because they didn't get the money from it on the DVDs.
Which is a crime. That is an absolute crime.
Every other WrestleMania I have has that on the DVDs except for this one.
Yeah. AJ Styles to defeat Shane McMahon, 20-minute match. The Hardy Boys would return to defeat Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Cesaro and Sheamus, and Enzo and Cass. John Cena and Nikki Bella would defeat The Miz and Maurice to win the title of Best WWE Couple. They are still together strong. I don't care what anybody says. That is my reality. They are the best couple in all of the world. Randy Orton defeated Bray Wyatt. Brock Lesnar defeated Goldberg. And Naomi would defeat Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Carmella, Mickie James, and Natalya to win a 6-pack challenge for SmackDown Women's Championship. And Roman Reigns would defeat The Undertaker in a no-holds-barred match. Knock, what are your thoughts?
At first, I just want to say one of the biggest boos ever heard was the Monday Night Raw after this when Roman beat Taker, man. Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Another great women's match. The Raw women's match was great. Bayley getting that victory. Even the SmackDown one, they tend to forget about one of the titles, but even the SmackDown one, they held their own. Styles, Shane McMahon was a great match. I was very shocked with what Shane brought to it, but he's in there with AJ. That's probably what gave him the big head to become the greatest of all time, how he's feeling himself there.
Yeah.
But you're forgetting about the star who shined in this show, Mojo Rawley, winning the Battle Royal.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
I can't. But I was surprised by Brock and Goldberg also. They surprised me. They really had a good match there. It was short, but it worked. The Hardys coming back was amazing. The Miz, this is the most over the Miz has ever been in his life. That crowd for the Miz was amazing. That was a great sight to see. And then last thing I will touch on, I wanted to say was the Orton match with Wyatt was terrible. I don't like how did that projection stuff. That didn't make any sense. But honestly, this is a great pay-per-view for me. This is the grandest stage of them all for me.
Ooh, top tier? Okay.
Yeah, it's up there. I don't know if it'll stay there, but for right now, I'll put it there.
How about you, Zach?
I'll put this as a good show. There's a lot on here that really helped. The Hardys coming back, man, how good was that? Like, just a lot of pop. The road that they built themselves on the Indies with Expedition of Gold and everything leading up to them coming back to this. Awesome. And I just want to give credit to the New Day as hosts. It's kind of a throwaway gig, but they kept it watchable on parts that I didn't think were watchable in between matches, and I give them credit. And yeah, there was a lot of good stuff on here. Great women's match. Love to see Naomi win.
I'll agree. I'll put it in good show. I don't think it really had anything that pushed it into this is WrestleMania territory, but everything, like all the good moments, Lesnar, Goldberg, the Hardy Boys coming back, which the main reason I bought the WWE 2K game that year was because they came back and I wanted to play as them. So I'll put it in a good show. I can go there. How about you, Anthony?
Yeah, I put on the lower tier. I was gonna go mildest with this one, but there's a couple good matches on here, so I bumped it up. It's amazing that Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin were on the pre-show for the IC title. That's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. AJ versus Shane. I really enjoyed that match. AJ looked majestic, especially at the time of the day because the wind was blowing in his hair. It was a very good look for him. It was a very, very good look for him. Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho was a solid match, but it was a letdown because what it should have been. Should have been Universal title. That's what the match should have been. Should have been higher up the card, but it wasn't. The Hardys comeback was a massive pop, and damn, I miss Enzo and Cass as a tag team. I honestly do. I thought they were extremely entertaining, even though Enzo's kind of a douche. But like the way he comes off anyways, I don't know like in real life or anything like that, but the way he comes off on TV is of that nature. So John Cena and Nikki Bella, I mean, they get the win. He proposes, and love conquers all, as you know. Still together to this day.
After all this time, after all the story,
they hang out with different people, but they're still together.
Exactly. They have open relationship.
Yeah. Seth and Triple H, and not the non-sanctioned match. I think it was like 25 minutes. It went insanely too long. Randy versus Bray, the wrong guy won. Randy shouldn't have won that match. Bray just won the title at the Elimination Chamber. He shouldn't drop it that quickly. Yeah. Lesnar Goldberg under 5 minutes, but it accomplished what it's supposed to do. It shouldn't have been for the championship though. It shouldn't have been for the Universal Championship, but it was a good match for the people involved and how it was supposed to be done. The whole build-up was actually well done for Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. And Roman beats the Undertaker in a disastrous match. Undertaker just wasn't physically ready for it, and it just was what it was, and Roman shouldn't have won that match, but he did. The match shouldn't have happened, but it is what it is.
You know what? I'm willing to move this. I'm willing to change my vote to mildest stage, the highest stage of mildest stage, just because that main event, man, it kills me.
Man.
It was a great moment though, seeing John propose to Nikki Bella.
That was a beautiful
because we got to watch it all fall.
I fucking hate you. Oh man. Next up, WrestleMania 34. This was, of course, where we had Charlotte Flair retain the SmackDown Women's Championship against the 2018 Royal Rumble winner Asuka. And we also had AJ Styles defeat Shinsuke Nakamura, which would lead to the heel turn and all of the low blows that would follow from Shinsuke's heel turn reign. Let's see what else we had. Braun Strowman tag teaming with Nicholas to become the youngest champion in WWE history at 10 years old by defeating Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team Championships. What else do we have? Matt Hardy winning the Battle Royal for that year. Brock Lesnar defeating Roman Reigns. And Nia Jax defeats Alexa Bliss, everybody's favorite. And Daniel Bryan's return by teaming with Shane McMahon against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Zach, where do you put this one at?
I'll put... I really don't remember this one, so I don't even know if I should give it the mildest stage. But I'll give it the mildest stage because I don't have anything super good or super bad to say about it.
Does it help you if I said this was the one where Undertaker defeated John Cena in 2 minutes 45 seconds?
Oh, I'll take that. High end of mildest.
How about you, Anthony?
I'd put it in the mildest. It's one of those ones where the decisions were just wrongly put. Like you had that high off the Royal Rumble with Asuka winning and Shinsuke winning, and then they kind of just like the decisions after that weren't right. Imagine how good that Cruiserweight tournament was on the network that they put that on the pre-show, the finals for that. Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. It's a disaster in its own right. This is the first time they had the Women's Battle Royal. Naomi wins it. Nobody really cares about that Battle Royal. It's like the Andre the Giant triple threat for the IC title. Was actually a pretty decent match. Seth, Miz, and Finn Balor. I thought it was a pretty good match. I especially like the way Finn came out as like the Game of Thrones character. Charlotte Asuka, I think, was the best match on the show. It's just the wrong choice of winner. Like Asuka should have won that match. Especially, I think that was kind of like the downfall of Asuka. Like it never really just went her way. What else we have here? Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey. I thought it was a good match. The way they did it, and Ronda Rousey really outperformed, and I thought it was well done. Shout out to the Bludgeon Brothers. They're on the show. Undertaker Cena was like kind of like, what's the point? And I feel bad for Elias because he was involved in that. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, it was what it was. It's just cool to see Daniel Bryan back. AJ versus Shinsuke was the match we all wanted to see. We were all dying to see it, and it just didn't really perform the way it should have. disaster for the tag team titles that a small child won, and Lesnar versus Reigns. I mean, I guess it was it was the best match they had, like probably. But it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I'm putting it in my other stage of them all. I do remember Miz, Finn, and Rollins. I remember thinking that was a great opener. It might have been my favorite match that night, actually, now that I look back on it. I refuse to believe WWE, even to this day, is in a women's revolution, evolution, whatever you want to call it. And this Mania was one of those reasons I believe that, because after we have Asuka versus Charlotte Flair, a great match, not even, Charlotte hasn't even left the damn ramp yet. They cut to Cena and he just runs straight through it to get ready for his match with Taker. Like, they just stomped all over that moment. And
there's a theme with him being such an asshole, huh?
I fucking hate you. And this is why I need to replace Zach, man. I'm tired of him putting down my hero. I'm tired of it. It goes in mildness, which, like you said, man, everyone was really looking forward to AJ and Shinsuke, but it just didn't. I don't know if we just put too much hype into it or if it just wasn't meant to happen. I don't know, but it just didn't live up to it.
I think it's the style too, right?
Oh, yeah, you can go ahead, man.
No, sorry, it's just I think the style, because the New Japan match was so good, but the style there is just so different, caters more to that type of matchup that you wanted to get from them, and then the WWE style is a little bit more like, watered down compared to that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I was gonna say, they know when there's internet hype now. There's no denying it. You can check the tweets, you can check the hits, all that stuff. So with all that hype about these two, do you think they should have basically just said, you guys do whatever you want for X amount of time?
They should have.
Yeah. They should have,
Yeah.
That match doesn't need an agent. It doesn't.
No.
A producer or anything. You should just go out. You got 25 minutes. Just do it. That's it.
It should have been what, like I said, what they did for Angle and Shawn. Like, Vince just told them, you guys decide the match, who wins.
Exactly.
Like, well, not who wins, but just do it all yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe the placement hurt too, because I think some of the crowd was a little out of it. It was kind of a long pay-per-view.
Yeah, true.
It reminded me of there's this match AJ had with Sting and TNA at Bound for Glory 09. Like, that didn't really live up to the hype. It was a big spotlight match, and it kind of fell a little short. And AJ, he's one of the greatest of all time, my favorite. But I think when you put AJ in a triple threat, you can't go wrong. I'm not saying it should have been a triple threat, but those triple threat matches you have are always on fire. And that's where he does his best stuff. The other thing I'll say on this pay-per-view was, this was where Rusev should have won. This is the height of Rusev Day, and I don't get why he didn't win that belt. But I think it's pretty mild for me.
All right, into mild. It's
and I actually like Nia Jax in the pay-per-view too. This is when I kind of was rocking with her.
I think this was right before I started hating her. Right before she became my mortal enemy. All right, looks like most of these they're mainly going to the mildest stage of them all. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully this one does not go there. I really don't want it to. I'm not prepared to do a 2-day live stream for a mild show. Next up, we've got ourselves going to WrestleMania 35. This one we have Batista getting what he wants, what he really, really wants. Tony Nese defeating Buddy Murphy on the pre-show, but it was a great. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I didn't like that match. I didn't like Tony Nese becoming champion. I was thinking of the one before.
I liked him, man. He's a New York dude.
As a person, I liked him, but he had very tough competition to follow. Buddy Nese, that's a tough reign to follow.
Yeah.
Shane McMahon would defeat The Miz, because I don't remember why. Samoa Joe would defeat Rey Mysterio for the U.S. Championship. Roman Reigns would defeat Drew McIntyre in the singles match. The Demon would defeat Bobby Lashley, and Becky Lynch would defeat Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair in the main event. And of course, we cannot forget Kofi Mania, where Kofi would defeat Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. Knock, I know you love this Mania, so where's it going?
Oh, this is my pick for Grand Stage of them all, man. Outside of the Rey Mysterio win, this Kofi thing is huge. We watched it live together. Zach was there. Kofi, this was amazing. Kofi Mania was amazing. I watched Samoa Joe, another one of my favorites from TNA, tap out. I mean, one of my other favorites, but it was cool to see Samoa Joe get a tap out victory at Mania. I love a lot of this, man. The only bad thing that will drop this for me, this might drop it to lame, honestly, was Baron Corbin beat Kurt Angle in his final match. That one still to this day haunts me. I hope Kurt Angle comes back, but that is an awful decision. Besides that, man, I don't think the triple threat main event lived up to the hype, but it's still a big moment for the women, so I appreciate it. And I think Charlotte came in on a helicopter, man, so that was sick.
That's right, yeah. I'm willing to get into grandest stage just so we can vote it. I'll vote on it later. Because there was like 3 huge babyface wins. It was Kofi Mania, Becky, and was it Seth? Yeah, Seth versus Lesnar.
In the beginning.
Only thing was that Becky match, like we've said before, like on the podcast, that Becky's WrestleMania matches don't live up. They don't really hit that mark that they should. I'm willing to put in grandest stage of them all for right now. Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, so I was there, so I have like just more feelings towards it, maybe than I would have watched it at home. But yeah, I'll say grandest stage. The Kofi Mania thing was it was just really cool to see people holding up their kids. There's a lot of people of color holding up their kids to see something that they haven't seen in years. And then you have everyone else just kind of like taking it in. People were kind of like iffy on the booking of it. I think it was booked perfectly because by the time we all got to the women's match, everyone was like, okay, that was good, but I gotta go. It was a really long Mania. So I don't know how you guys felt watching it at home, but everyone there was getting a little tired. I really liked a lot of this. I really don't understand why they didn't just put John Cena in that spot. He was there. He was in the building. Kurt Angle and John Cena both should have spoken up. I give them 70% of the responsibility for this being a shit Baron Corbin match because both of them have resumes and they listened. Vince listens to them both. So for them to not speaking up, it just kind of that really soured me. That Kurt Angle match did.
Well, I hate that I have to say this, but I can't blame Angle. I have to blame Cena only because Angle did mention that he did speak to Vince and he was like, I want to retire. I want to go against someone big. And Vince was like, that's fine. You can retire. But this year you're going against Corbin. Angle did speak up. But it just didn't work out.
Like I said before, if it wasn't Cena, it should have been Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
But then that'd be him acknowledging TNA, which is another company, which Vince doesn't want to do.
Yeah, I guess.
How about you, Anthony?
I'm on the border of this one, like for between good and mild. I mean, this because like I look at the card and there's just so many matches that a lot of them feel like, okay, you got to cut 10 minutes off your match, guy, because you don't have time right now. Look at the match. Look at the match lengths. I mean, the Seth Rollins Brock Lesnar, I understood why it was so short, and it was a hot way to start the show off. Like you want to start the show off hot, like boom, right there. They did a couple of fan service things, like having Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder beat the Revival for the tag team championships in the pre-show. It's got to get the local people going. The Seth Rollins, Randy Orton Edge. I mean, Randy Orton AJ was a good, solid matchup, which was well done. I mean, the Usos, winning against Ricochet, Aleister Black and all those teams in there, it's fine, but it's just a cluster with all those people in the ring. Shane versus The Miz was a match that went too long, and it was like all they did. And then the funniest part about it was Shane Dash showed up in the ring. That was like Mrs. Dash showed up in the ring. I thought that was the funniest part about it. Because he's like funny looking guy, right? So so it's just funny. I know that's why they put him out there, because it's how he looks, right? So it was what it was. I mean, there's just so many things. The best thing of the show is Kofi winning the championship, the whole run, Kofi Mania from the chamber on like through. It was just tremendous stuff. And for a guy who's been there so long, he really honestly deserved it. And it, like CM Punk said, it probably should have happened way sooner than it did. I mean, look at the Samoa Joe Rey Mysterio. That was a minute long and it was a tap out. Like, it's just so many short things. Roman versus Drew was. I
will say though, Ray was hurt for that.
Exactly. So that's why it was so short. Yeah, but just like at that point, like, what do you do at that point? Baron Corbin Angle, they should have had Cena do it. Triple H Batista was 25 minutes long for no reason. Yeah. Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley was 4 minutes. I mean, that's disservice to Bobby Lashley there. And the women's match was a good match. There's a couple spots that were kind of off there, and I think the finish was botched. Like I think the referee got in trouble for it, or something like that. I remember hearing, and I would have to put it in the lower end of a good show.
Yeah, I think for right now, we'll put it in grandest stage, but we're gonna do a quick vote at the end to decide if it stays or not. I'm trying to remember how did that match the botch was, because it was a roll up, and I think you're right. I think the referee did count 3 by mistake or something, or Ronda didn't kick out. I can't remember.
It was strange.
Becky's fault too, actually. We all saw when we saw it live. We all stuck around for a second because we thought someone was going to come out and do another call in audible because clearly something was wrong.
Right. All right. And next up, we have last year's WrestleMania, the final one before we get to voting. Too big for just one night. We have 19 matches total spread over 2 days. Notable matches, we have got Becky Lynch defeating Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship. We got John Morrison defeating Jimmy Uso and Kofi Kingston for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship, which was such a great match. I love that match. Braun Strowman defeating Goldberg in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. The Undertaker would defeat AJ Styles in the Boneyard Mark would defeat AJ Styles in the Boneyard match. Charlotte Flair would defeat Rhea Ripley. Aleister Black defeat Bobby Lashley. Edge would defeat Orton. And in the main event, Drew McIntyre would defeat The Big Show. That is the real main event of that year's WrestleMania. Before that, he would defeat Brock Lesnar.
That even aired on the main live show.
So I think on Raw, they were like,
according to WWE,
like,
that's how they put it. The secret main event. And I was like, you really want that to be your main event? Like, seriously? But that's how it goes. Anthony, how do you see this one, man?
For all the circumstances behind it, and this is one I was scheduled to go to. I had my tickets ready and everything got, crapped on, but I'm going to put this one at This Is WrestleMania because they were able to change everything on the fly. They found a format that works for years to come is the 2-night show, because those 1-night shows of 6 hours is just a lot. And guys get, the matches get watered down after a while. You have certain spots matches take place in where time gets cut. People don't care about it. So I think this format helps them. The cinematic matches were so well done, especially the Boneyard match. Thought it was really well done. Braun versus Goldberg was like the worst match of them all, but it kind of was what it was. The SmackDown Tag Team Ladder match was interesting that they did it that way, but it was actually a really good match. So it kind of came off well. Kevin Owens versus Rollins, I thought was a solid matchup as well. Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler was one of the biggest disappointments to me. I feel like that should have been way better than what it was. It was only 8.5 minutes long. Should have been a lot longer. There's just a lot of interesting things on here that they could have done differently, but I thought for the most part, with the circumstances they had, they did the best they could and it came off really well. You either hate the Firefly Funhouse match or you love it. I was on the side of loving it because I thought it was just so out of the box and interesting. Charlotte versus Rhea may not have been the best match it should have, but it just showcased the superstar, megastar that Rhea Ripley is eventually going to become. She just has that presence, that look to her and all that. Edge, Randy Orton, Last Man Standing was just way too long. It was. And that's the problem with that match. And Drew versus Brock, what needed to happen, happened. So I'll put this one at the This Is WrestleMania list.
I completely agree. Looking at the card, I remember hating this match when it was happening. So the only match I would take away from this card, honestly, is Elias versus Baron Corbin. That match was pointless, and it was a hard 9 minutes to get through.
I don't even remember that match.
Good. Becky Lynch and Shayna, that was disappointing. That was just really disappointing. Morrison, Uso, and Kofi, that match was, like I said before, just great. Let's see, the Firefly Funhouse match, like you said, man, love it or hate it. I got a bunch of footage together for a top 10 cinematic match video, and I rewatched the whole thing by mistake. I love that match. It's just a great, I love it. It's fun. Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar was kind of cathartic. Everyone got to see Brock Lesnar just get beat in a short amount of time, and it was a good way to start Drew McIntyre's reign. So I agree. This is WrestleMania. How about you, Zach?
I'll agree too, just because I'm going to remember a lot of this match because they did split it up into 2 nights. But on that note too, I do not think they should do 2 nights going forward. I know it will be this year, but it really kills the importance of WrestleMania having it on 2 nights. What they need to do, get rid of the Hall of Fame because that's fucking stupid anyways. When we went to Mania, we didn't buy tickets because why? They can have it, do it virtually, whatever. But you have Mania on Sunday night. You have either NXT on Saturday night or on Friday night takeover. You have it part of the weekend again. And then you also have maybe a sub show, like something that's not Mania, but you start a new sub show on the weekend for people that aren't going to be on the Mania card, but make them still feel important and have feuds. Like you need that. You have way too many people you're trying to cram in a Mania. And it's just everything else gets bogged down. You start to forget matches. Manias get way too long. I think they need a third weekend show for main roster talent.
I'm down with that.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna remember this Mania. So this is WrestleMania.
All right, Knock, final vote.
I think it was mild for me, man. Like I know they did a lot of stuff on the fly, so I give them credit for that. I might bump the good show, but it's hard for me to go back to some of these matches, honestly. So I'm so much looking forward to now this Mania this year. But I love the Firefly Funhouse. The Boneyard match is amazing, and I give him credit for doing the stuff on the fly with all the stuff surrounding it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that Boneyard match was just nuts. I mean, I remember I was like, I saw it and I had to tell my wife, like, you gotta watch this shit. And she watched it with me. I was like, this thing is crazy. Like, it's just, I liked the way they pulled it off, but
yeah. I'll send it to people that don't even watch wrestling because just like people my age, it was just like a cool 90s movie again.
Mm-hmm.
When the Metallica is riding off, that's just great.
Very nice. Well, that's our whole list right there. This is too damn long for me to tell you guys where everything is. So you got a screen, you can see where it is. But before we go, we're going to do a quick vote because only one can stay in the grandest stage of them all. So basically, I'm going to go down each one. And you guys, just let me know if you have a vote for it. One vote total. That's all you can do. Starting off, I should really know which number this is, but this is Hogan 6. And 6. Thank you.
6.
WrestleMania 6. Anyone have a vote for WrestleMania 6?
I'll use my vote for it.
Okay. Anyone got a vote for WrestleMania X7?
I do.
And I do.
Yeah, I'll just go there.
All right. So with that, third place goes Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda. Second place, Hogan and Warrior. And we've got WrestleMania X7 in the grandest stage of them all. The big winner. Anthony, thank you so much for doing this, man. I apologize for how long this went.
No, I had a ton of fun, honestly. Like it was so much fun. You guys are awesome. You guys got great personalities, and I really enjoyed it completely. It was awesome.
Thank you so much, man. And again, please check out his channel. It's an amazing channel. I honestly say one of the cool things about starting this channel is that we've seen so many other like YouTubers, and your channel is dope to check out, man. I'm jealous of your setup, by the way. It's cool watching the videos.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot, dude.
So, we don't know how we're gonna do this video quite yet. Maybe we'll put on one video. Maybe we'll split up 2 parts and go on each channel. But we'll see. We'll discuss that. But thank you guys for watching. We hope you like the list. Let us know in the comments below. Where would you put your WrestleMania tier list? What would you have? And explain to us why John Cena is everyone's hero at WrestleMania. Knock, any last words?
Yeah, thanks for the views, man. We've been getting a lot of following this past few weeks, man. We really appreciate it, man. We're gonna keep pumping out these videos, and definitely check out Anthony's show on his YouTube channel, Rated R for Wrestling. I enjoy it. I've been checking out some of your videos to see who you are, man. And you do some good stuff, man. You're great to talk to. I heard you were on the East Coast. So I knew you were gonna be cool. So yeah,
you know that East Coast goes.
Yeah, you know, I already know, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
All right, exactly. Last words.
Just to let you know, Eric, again, there's a reason John Cena endorses the trash bags. But definitely man. Yeah, Rated R for Wrestling. I'm following it. I'm digging your videos after each show too.
Thank you, bro.
Watch them. Very insightful too. It's again, like Eric says, we're checking out other people's sites and stuff like that, but yours is a go-to because of the knowledge and the personality. So we dig it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, bro.
Definitely. All right, folks. Peace out. Have a great night, great day. Stay safe out there.